everyone. Let's solve max consecutive ones. Let's understand the problem statement. You will be given an array which contains values either 0 or 1. We need to return max continuous ones. So let's see here. You have an array with values 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1. So we need to return max consecutive ones or max continuous ones. Let's see the possible results here. If you start from index 0, till index 1 you have ones, so that the continuous ones counter is 2 here. Similarly, from index 3 to again index 5 you have continuous counter as 3 with value 1. So we need to return maximum result, so out of which the max result is 3. It's a very good problem on greedy thinking. Let's see, how do you know that it's a greedy problem? So you pick up any greedy problem, you have multiple possible solutions. You see here, one possible solution is 2, other possible solution is 3. So out of which we need to return optimistic result. Here the optimistic result is what? Max value. So which is 3. So this is where you need to apply a greedy thinking. So in a greedy thinking, there are only two things we need to consider. One is local optimizer. So which is going to consider the current iteration value, and we also have global optimizer. So the global optimizer is going to store max value. So in this case, if you closely see, you have 2 and 3, so out of which 3 is max. So the global optimizer represents max value. Let's see how do we solve it. I'm just rewriting the same input here. You have 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, which is starting from index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's a greedy problem, right? So what I do, I'll pick up two variables. So one is local optimizer, which tracks the current counter. So I can take it as current counter variable, which is initially 0. And I also take global optimizer, so which has the value as max counter, which is also initially 0. So I start from index 0. At index 0, we have value 1, so that I can update the current counter by 1. I can increment the current counter by 1, so the current counter becomes 1. Then I move further. At index 1, again you see that the value is 1, so that I can increment the current counter value, which becomes 2. Now when I move on to the index 2, I could see that the current value is 0, so which is breaking the continuous ones, so that it's time to update the max counter. Max counter holds the value 0, but the current counter is holding value 2, so that you can reset the max counter value to 2. Now, when you are moving further, so whenever you find a 0, reset the value of current counter also 0, because it's going to be fresh start. Now I'm just moving to the next index. So in the index 3, you have value 1, so that again you can increment the current counter by 1. Again, move on to the next index. At index 4 also you have value 1, increment the current counter by 1. That current counter holds value 2. Now you are at index 5. At index 5 also you have value 1. So increment the current counter value by 1, so which is going to be 3. So when you move further, you are reaching out of the array, so that it's time to return max value out of which. So you just need to return whichever is max. Either it is max counter or current counter. That's it. So this is a simple problem on greedy thinking. So in a greedy thinking, we have one local optimizer, another global optimizer. We'll just track with those two variables. That's it. So if you see the time complexity here, right? I'm just starting from index 0, traversing towards n. So there is no additional thing I'm doing. So it's going to be linear. And the space complexity here is, we are not taking any additional space. We are just handling with three variables. One is local optimizer, which is current counter, global optimizer, which is max counter, and with the index value, index pointer. That's it. So there is no additional space I occupy. So obviously the space complexity is going to be constant. So let me go and submit the code. Simple. So I need, it's a greedy kind of problem, right? So I'm going to take two variables. One is current counter, which is local optimizer. I also take one more variable, which is max counter. Then I start from index 0, traverse towards n, then index plus plus. So whenever I see that the current iteration value is equal to 1, it means I just need to update the local optimizer, so which is current counter. I just need to increment the current counter. Otherwise, it's time to hold the max value. So the max value can be max counter or current counter. So we'll just replace with it. So we just consider whichever is max. So once we update the value to the next iteration, so we need to reset the current counter, so that current counter is going to be 0 for the next iteration. That's it. So whenever you are returning the result, you don't know which one holds max value, so that just return whether the current counter is having max value or max counter. That's it. So you can run and submit. That's it. Hope you like the explanation. Please do subscribe and share. Thanks for watching. See you next time.